Welcome to a brand new episode of SideQuest Podcast. Listen in and level up. So this is another solo episode. Before we get into the episode, let's get through all the house notes first. If you're not following me on Twitter, follow me at SideQuestFM. You can follow me on Instagram as well at SideQuestFM. Head over to Facebook and you can like the Facebook page over there. Up in the search bar, type in SideQuest Fitness. When you like the page, you'll get updates on all the shenanigans I get myself into all week, as well as Taco Tuesday. You'll get a brand new taco recipe. Mondays, you get podcast updates, article updates when I write on my site or elsewhere, along with plenty of other fun things going on in social. You can also follow me on Snapchat, SideQuest Fit. Check out all the shenanigans I get myself into on Snapchat. I hope you guys are enjoying these solo episodes. I have a great one for you today as well. If you're enjoying these and all the other episodes that I put out, please head over to iTunes and leave a review on iTunes. When you leave a review, it helps us move up the charts so more people can hear the awesome guests that I have on the show each and every week. But you can also listen on SoundCloud, you can listen on Stitcher, and you can also listen on Google Play Music, and you can leave reviews on all three of those as well. For all the show notes, sidequestfitness.com, and then click on the podcast tab up at the top. You can get every single episode that's ever happened there on the website, along with show notes. You'll get links to books and articles that the guests and I talk about, and you'll get a little insight into what we are discussing in those episodes. For today's episode, I want to talk a little about the 80-20 principle. You hear a lot of people talk in the fitness industry, in business, in life, live by an 80-20 principle. Be on it 80% of the time, 20% of the time have fun. Hit your diet 80% of the time, 20% of the time relax. I want to talk a little bit about what that is and issues that I faced in the past with that and how to actually implement that into your life. So let's get into the show.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.
For 365 days in a year, 52 weeks. You hear people say all the time, whether you own a business, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are following a diet trying to lose weight, you often hear this 80-20 principle. Eat whole foods 80% of the time, and 20% of the time enjoy some guilty pleasures. But let's be honest, how many times have we all dieted and we want to do it 100% of the time? And when we go off the rails, when we have time where we're eating ice cream and pizza and burgers and all the things that we know we're not supposed to eat, all the things that we know we're going to wake up the next morning and regret. And then you wake up the next morning and you feel guilty. You feel awful. You feel like you cheated on someone. I mean, you cheated on yourself. Like, you feel ashamed and guilty. I've been there. It happens. And when you have a goal and you have something that you're working towards, it feels awful when you feel like you've given up. Yeah, it was one day. It was one day, and I know. And you'll hear me say things all the time. But I feel the same way. I feel the same way at times. But I have to remind myself of this. We're going to do a little math. If you live by the 80-20 principle, 365 days in a year, all right, can't hit 100%. So you strive for 80. Okay, so 20% of those days, you screw up. You go over your calories, you have some ice cream, instead of half the pint of Ben & Jerry's, you eat the whole pint of Ben & Jerry's. You went out with your friends, you had a good time, you drank a little too much whiskey and then ate 3 slices of pizza. Well, you started with 2 slices of pizza, but then you said, fuck it, I'm just going to get a 3rd slice because, man, that buffalo chicken pizza looks really, really good. And you're in New York City, and it's pizza in New York. So, you buy the 3rd slice. Wake up the next morning, and how do you feel? Feel pretty bad. All those memories come sloshing back into your brain from the night before. But guess what? When we do the math, divide 20% into 365. 73. 73 days. If you live the 80-20 principle, 73 days out of the year, you can totally goof up. 1 out of 73? That's a really low percentage. I mean, even, and I'm not saying that you go for 73 days. Like, you put it on your calendar and count out, these are the days I'm going to cheat. If you live the 80-20 principle all year long, technically you could do that. But think about that, 73 days. That's almost 2.5 months. All right, a little better for you. 52 weeks in a year, 20% of that, 10.5 weeks. 10.5 weeks. So one night isn't that big of a deal. And I understand, I get it. Like, we have goals, we want to achieve them. You know, we want to get lean. We're working hard, and then all those cravings come and they hit us, and then you get up the next morning and you feel guilty. You know, you think, God, you know, I started this diet, man. I was doing so well. I was doing so good, and I had an awful weekend. And you think to yourself, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to throw myself down the rabbit hole. I'm going to wake up on Saturday morning, and I'm going to eat a sausage gravy biscuit, and I'm going to eat hash browns, and I'm going to eat all this stuff. Like, it doesn't even matter. I give up. I'm a failure. You're not a failure. You're not a failure. If out of a year, you had 12 days, 12 out of 73, you're at maybe 3% of the year that you goofed off of your diet. You hit your diet 97%? Dude, that's consistency. And that's what matters. Consistency is what matters. It doesn't matter that one night, maybe you went out for a weekend, you know, with your friends from college, and you went back for homecoming, or you went out to a wedding, and you just, look, don't send me to weddings. If there's meatballs, I'm going to eat all the meatballs. If there's free booze, I'm going to drink all the free booze. I mean, weddings are a time to celebrate, and you dance, and you're going to burn a ton of calories doing that. But you don't need to wake up the next morning and think that you completely ruined everything. You know, Tanner Bays, my good friend Tanner Bays, once said that in a year, if you were to eat, 2,000 calories, every single day, in a year, multiply 2,000 by 365. You know what? Let me do that real quick. Let's pull up my calculator, and we'll multiply 2,000 times. You can hear my computer clicking. 365. That is 730,000 calories. 730,000 calories that you'll consume in a year. One night, it's not going to hurt you that much. It's really not going to hurt you. And especially if you're in a deficit, you'll make it up later. Get back on the horse. When it comes to health and it comes to fitness, when it comes to lifting weights, you're going to have bad days. When you go into the gym, you are going to have an amazing day where it feels like you walk out and you feel like Superman. I mean, you feel like a god. And then you'll have days where you walk out and you're like, God, I feel like a peddler. Like you couldn't do anything. The weights just didn't move. You're tired. I mean, it's going to happen. But most of the time, you're going to live right there in the middle. It's going to be good. It's going to be all right. It's going to be, man, it's not bad. Those are the days, that you're going to have. You're going to be right there in the middle, but you're consistent, and that's what matters. You show up every day, you do your work, you've given yourself some rules and principles to live by. And that's how you establish consistency. Yes, 20% of the time, goof off, go eat the pizza, eat the burgers covered in bacon and cheese, and the buns are grilled cheese sandwiches. Oh, the Vortex in Atlanta, Georgia is so good. Yes, I'm well aware that burger probably was about 3,000 calories. But you only live once. And yes, having good health and being fit, it's important. It is. You're going to live longer. You're going to be able to continue doing the activities you want to do as you age. All of that is important. But it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy those things. So don't beat yourself up. Striving for perfection, it's noble. I will give you that. And I do not fault anyone for wanting to be their best. I think you should always put forth your best. But LeBron James sometimes doesn't give his best. Look at Tom Brady. Sometimes he doesn't give his best. Like, you look at sports stars, it happens. Cristiano Ronaldo goes out and sometimes he has a game where he blows the world away. And sometimes he doesn't. But he consistently shows up every day. He puts in the work. And he gets it done in the end. Consistency leads to victory. Think about it in a video game sense. You've been battling this boss over and over and over again. And you just can't seem to beat him. So you step back. You go on some more quests. But you stay resilient. You continue to level up. You continue to get better. Then you come back to the boss and you defeat him. He was easier than that first time you tried. We do it in video games all the time. We go on quests and quest and quest and quest after quest, but we keep going. You know, the big bad comes in, he shows his face, he knocks us down a peg or two, but we don't give up. Our character never gives up because he knows in the end, if he just keeps trying, if he keeps struggling, if he keeps going, he will win in the end. That's what matters. Consistency. So when you hear 80-20, yes, I understand the guilt that comes from 1 or 2 nights of going off the rails, but it's all right. Because the choices that you made yesterday are not the choices that you have to make today. Tomorrow is a brand new day, fresh with no mistakes. You haven't made any choices yet. So make the choices that you've been making the whole time, the choices that have gotten you the progress that you've received, the progress that you've made. Continue making those choices. Let the past go. Let go of the guilt. I know it's there and it hangs over you like a shadow. But light up your day by telling yourself, you know what? I have the choice today to do awesome things, or I have the choice to stay in the shadows and go do awesome stuff. Forgive yourself when you fall off. I do it. I'm not perfect. And no fitness coach is. You want to see an example of things that you shouldn't do? Come to a conference with a bunch of fitness coaches. There's pizza, there are burgers, there's wings, there's drunken debauchery. It happens. But life is about living. Live it to your fullest. Hit your nutrition, hit your diet, hit your workouts 80% of the time. And when you have a goof off day, in the long span of a year, if you only had a whole week, if you spent 1 week, 7 days, where you just goofed off, that's less than 1 day a month. 1 day a month. Less. You're right. That's what the 80-20 principle is really about. Forgiving yourself and getting back on track. Getting back to what you've been doing. Because if you're right 80% of the time, you're going to lose fat, you're going to gain muscle, you're going to feel better 100% of the time. I'll leave you with one last analogy. Again, this applies to being an entrepreneur, starting a business, writing a book, creating art, losing weight, building muscle, being more fit. It all applies to this. You're attempting to build a giant Lego tower, but it takes 1 block at a time to get it done. Piece together those blocks, 1 by 1. And that's all you're doing. Piece together the blocks, 1 by 1. Make each day better. And if yesterday was a bad day, make today a better day. Go be awesome, heroes.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records, and with the help of the guest you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.